Hey, it's Jordan Miller with BASF. I wanted to touch base on what is called the latent period in disease. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years, and especially this year, because some guys have decided, or gals, to wait to spray their corn or beans because they didn't think they needed a fungicide. Probably because they were thinking of just disease control and not the other aspects that the BASF fungicides give you. That's a whole nother topic though, called plant health. Anyway, so the question is, hey Jordan, we went out, we sprayed, and now I'm back in here and I see disease. So does that mean my fungicide didn't work? What's going on? Well, here's how fungicide works. A spore has to be on our plant tissue. So whether we're talking about corn or beans, that spore is on the plant. It depends on the disease, how it gets there. Some overwinter in debris, some blow in with weather events. And if we spray our fungicide in time within this period, which can be a few days to a week, it just depends on the disease. If we spray our fungicide and it has a post-infection disease control, so you've also probably heard it called curative. I don't like using that word because it doesn't cure it because the spore is already there. So if you spray that fungicide that has that post-infection disease control, it can actually stop those spores from developing into a lesion. However, if we're past that time period for that disease, then what's going to happen is even though we sprayed, that spore will still develop into a lesion. However, what we're now controlling, once that lesion shows up, because we missed that period of time to actually kill that spore, once that lesion shows up, then our disease control is going to stop that lesion from producing any more spores or spreading that disease. Does that make sense? So if you sprayed, let's say you have corn this year, which in Southwest Indiana, most corn looks pretty good, and it's been pretty clean, which is really shocking for the amount of humidity and moisture we've had. Now that came in later, so that's probably why we're just starting to see disease ramp up here in the past month. But let's say you decided to wait to spray, and your corn was, tassel or maybe R2 when you decided to go spray. Well, I will tell you, by tassel time, you already have spores that are on that plant. And so if we miss that period where those spores can be killed by that fungicide, if it's a good fungicide, then you're going to have that lesion. So I've gotten a call about southern rust, gray leaf spot. In soybeans, it's the same thing with target spot that we're seeing this year. So if we miss that period to kill that spore, yes, you're going to have lesions show up, but then we should be stopping it from there. Now, if your fungicide has been out for 50 days or so, and you've had 20 inches of rain in the past month, like I think we have here, then yeah, we might be running out. However, if your corn is far enough along and you only have, another 10 days or 2 weeks to get to black layer, then a little bit more disease coming in isn't going to rob yield from you. Unless it's like 2016, if you remember that year, that was the southern rust year, where it just kept coming and coming and coming and coming, and 2 applications of fungicide for disease control paid for itself. But I do not see that happening this year. My biggest thing is we need to be out spraying, I say prior to pollination, if you're using a BASF fungicide, again, because it does more than just disease control. So we can talk about that later, but prior to pollination, that means as soon as tassels are out, as soon as silks are out, I would be spraying. And it's safe to spray before then too. The idea is we want to get out there before those spores are even there. But if the spores are there, we want to get there as soon as possible, because then the residual part of our fungicides, that's going to take us through. So hopefully that helps to explain why you might be seeing some lesions still when you sprayed a fungicide in your corner beans, but it shouldn't be spreading. So if you have questions, let me know, and I hope everyone sprayed this year. All right, thanks.